rest of my life. I wanna spend every night doing whatever you like. And if you say that
Okay, ladies first. Well, my name is Sharon Almon. I want to introduce you to the love of my life, Maurice Almon. We've been married, it'll be almost 37 years on August 15th of this year, 2018. He is an IT professional, but that's just what he does. That's not who he is. He is truly a man of God. He is a man with character, high standards. He loves his wife unconditionally with all my flaws. He loves his two children. We have a son, James, who's almost 34, and he's in the United States Navy, and a daughter, Christine, who is a UGA grad, and he's an excellent father. Are you hitting my leg?
I'm not doing anything.
And so he is wonderful. He really is. He's the love of my life, and I always tell him that he inspires me to be who I am. So that's my honey.
Well, thank you. I paid you to say all that.
Yes, I want the tip later.
Well, I'm Maurice Almon. I am the opposite side of her. I am her husband. She is my wife. As she stated, we almost been married for longer than dirt, almost 37 years. She works in the social field for DeKalb County. She's been doing that for the last, 2 years now? Almost 2 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Reentry services now.
Yeah.
But I've been in nonprofit.
And she's been in nonprofit
For
all
20.
her life.
Yes.
Yeah. And we just enjoy being with one another. She's just a beautiful woman inside and out. She's my best friend. She's the love of my life. And I cannot imagine my life without her. Well, we met at college. I was attending a college called Greenville College in Southern Illinois University. And she came down a year or two later to visit the college. She didn't attend right away. She went back and went to another college and then came back later. So we met a couple years after that, Greenville College in Greenville, Illinois. Yep,
That's true.
that is true.
But that
I must say, well, I'll let her say this part because she enjoys telling this story.
No,
so.
it's true. My girlfriend and I were in high school, and we went to visit the college. We got on the Greyhound bus and rode to Greenville College, which is in Greenville, Illinois. So when we got to the campus, it was spring break, so there really wasn't a lot of people on campus except for the baseball team. And we went into the dining commons and saw them all sitting together with their Greenville College jackets. Then later on in the day, we saw him walking down, the street, and he was coming in one direction and we were coming down in the other.
Lord.
So he came up to us and said,
What did I say?
he said, you said, if there's anything I can do, if you want me to show you around, just let me know. So my girlfriend and I, we waited until he got out of our hearing range, and we said, sure, he'd like to show us around. So when we found out he was from Chicago, and we were from a little small town, a suburb of Chicago called Waukegan, Illinois. So we were from a small town. And when we found out he was from Chicago, we was like, we didn't want to have anything to do with him. And
Nothing good comes out of Nazareth.
And then my dad died in 1977, my senior year. And so I decided not to go down to the college the next year. But my mom encouraged me to go to the college a year after I went into just a local college that was in the community. And so when I went there, who was the first person I saw? My honey. He wasn't my honey. Then we were dating other people, which is a whole story.
Whole different story there.
So I was dating somebody else. He was dating somebody else. And when I saw him, I think it was just destiny. So that's how we met on the College of Greenville campus.
That is true.
Yeah. So I actually met my husband when I was a senior in high school. And then I didn't go to the school for a year. And then when I went there, I re-met him again. And we dated for 2 years. And destiny.
Here we are.
Here we are.
First couple of years of our marriage, we really didn't have, we had biblical things that we thought about was the core, but we came up with 3 definite core things that we really based our marriage on, and those are faith, which is the foundation of our marriage. Fun and friendship. Those three F's are the core values of our marriage, and we stand by those. Of course, by our faith in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Our fun, we really enjoy one another. We have great times with one another, and she's just my best friend. So.
Oh, that is true.
Mhm.
He's right. Faith, friendship, and fun. Those are our three core values.
The conscious things that I do for Sharon is I like to surprise her with things. I mean, I do a lot of the decorations in the house. When she's gone, the house
Yeah.
come back and it be totally changed. That's just me, and she'll be coming. Oh, that's so nice. Then she'll come and put her little touch on it, and change it. But those are the kind of conscious things I like to surprise her with different things. I like to uh, uh, make her laugh. Unconscious things. I don't know. I maybe stop at a store and get her favorite movie, or stop by Wendy's and get her chocolate frosty. She kind of likes that, and things like that. I just try to think of the little things that she likes that she don't think I'm paying attention to, and then I'll do those type of things. So, yeah, it's kind of fun because she really don't like surprises, but I like doing surprises. So that's what makes it works. So, yeah.
Well, for me, I like to do conscious things, and I guess as you pose the question to me, unconscious things for my husband. The conscious things that I like to do for him is to make him feel valued, to have him feel loved, supported, especially for African American males. When they go out, even after they get their degrees and have work experience, when they go out into the corporate structure, many times not only are they battling to be the best that they can be, they're also come against a lot of prejudice and a lot of stereotypes that they have to deal with each and every day. And what I want my husband to feel is when he crosses that threshold each and every day, regardless of what's happened in his workday, that when he comes into this home, that this is his palace, this is his castle, this is where he feels loved, this is where he's not judged, that he's accepted unconditionally. So I make a conscious effort each and every day, whether I'm tired, regardless of how I might be feeling, is to make him feel loved and make him feel like he's first. And this is his universe and his world. Right. So that's what I consciously do. In terms of the unconscious things I do, I think sometimes I just get, you know how sometimes they say you can get in the car and you can drive to work and get there and not even know that it's done. So sometimes I kind of go on automatic pilot. And make sure, sometimes I go to work all day, I come home, and he always tells me now that we're empty nesters, baby, you don't have to cook all the time. But I think for me, unconsciously, I want to do those things for him because I want to serve. I want him to feel special. So unconsciously, I just get on automatic pilot. And even though he's telling me I don't have to do all those things, I enjoy and like to do them.
I don't cook, so all the cooking will be her category. So that's very nice for me.
When we got married, you know how some people will say it's 100%, 100%, or people will say 50-50. I don't think there's any such thing. I think it's 100%, 100%, and sometimes 150, 150. Because there are days where, especially when our children were born, my husband did it all. I mean, it was so funny, back in the day, we were dating ourselves. They had cloth diapers. So before they had the Pampers disposable, he would get the baby all bathed and bundled and bring it into me with a pen. But my husband
Can't put no diaper on.
Yeah, he doesn't cook anything necessary. And that's okay because he does so many more things. Yeah. So we just kind of look at what has to get done and we make it happen.
Right.
Now, traditional, I guess because we both have worked pretty much all of our marriage. Now, I did come home for 5 years early in our marriage. So in that respect, I would always have his dinner ready and all that because I enjoy doing that. I enjoy serving him. We serve each other. So in that respect, traditional wise, we probably are. But we always
there are
look
some
at
elements of tradition that we may do. But for the most part, it's a team.
Yeah.
We're a team. Wherever there's a need, then
we make it happen.
We make it happen.
But when it comes to finances, we decided who's the best manager.
Right.
And even though I manage our money, we make decisions together.
Right.
So it's not like the manager makes all the decisions. It's like we decide how the money's going to be spent, where the money's going to be allocated. I happen to be the manager, even though he's a business major. But that's just something that I'm good at, and he enjoys the fact that I'm a good money manager, so he has left that
it's
to
a
me.
matter of trust. I know
Yeah.
I can give it to you, and you'll do the right thing, and the closet ain't full of Louis Vuittons and all that other stuff, but it meets the needs for our family. So, and then if there's extras, then we do that. But I think there are some elements, especially like what you said, when the kids were young, the father mother roles. We did do that part, but to a certain extent, it was either one, and together in most cases we did.
And then we're always looking out for one another. So if he's tired, then he'll pick up. If he's tired, I pick up the slack. If I'm tired, he picks up the slack.
Yeah.
So, and like he said, the only thing that he doesn't do is cook. And he just doesn't know how. And I don't know if he's leaned on that all these years.
I kind of been spoiled
He
now.
is spoiled rotten.
With that part.
I will
I admit
say.
that.
Yeah.
I will admit that.
Yeah. So he doesn't cook, but we both do the housework together. We clean together. He has things that he like. Now I never do laundry. I don't do laundry. He does all the laundry. He irons all my clothes. I don't do any of that. But he doesn't cook. He doesn't clean bathrooms. But I like cleaning bathrooms. So I think for couples, you need to find what you like and then compromise and collaborate on how to get it done. So we like our things at the house.
Yeah, it seems to be working.
And all these years it's working. The only thing he doesn't want me to do is, like, I like to be in the yard planting flowers and all that, but don't touch his grass. He likes to cut his own grass, so I don't bother the grass.
The role of a husband is to be the king of the household. Come in and put your foot down. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God. Please don't believe that.
No, but for me, the general role for the husband is to be the head of the household in a traditional sense, but not to be dogmatic about that role. Your role for the husband is to be able to inspire your wife. And if you inspire them, then they'll do what's necessary to get things done, and that will make a happy home. You are the leader in the traditional sense of the home, but you don't make decisions on your own. You make it with your partner. So that's a role. I know most traditionally men think that I'm the dominant person. You do what I tell you to do, but that's not, for our marriage, that's not the way it works. So, but I look at my role as to inspire her, and I look at my role for my children as to be a presence for them and to be an example, especially for my son, on how to raise a wife, or how to raise a woman, how to be with a woman, and for my daughter, what to look for in a prospective male. So I look at that role for the man as to be an example.
And my famous words, what do I always say?
Oh, I got to go to work. Those are her famous 5 words. You got to go to work.
The role of a wife, my goodness, it is so complex. You're going to wear a lot of different hats. And first of all, you have to have a lot of patience. You have to have long suffering. If you know anything biblically, fruits of the Spirit, you got to have all those operating. But I
What
think
are you trying to say?
nothing bad. But the role of wife, this is how I have approached it, is to inspire and to also undergird whatever gifts and talents that my husband has, and to be his personal cheerleader, to have his back. As the young people say, I don't know if they're saying this, be down for him, whatever you want to be. But I want my husband to know that my role is to always have his back, to always support him. And also, even if I don't agree with him, especially like in a public setting, not to embarrass him, not to, even if I'm right, you could be, do you want your marriage to be good? Do you want it to be happy, or do you always have to be right? And I've learned that over the years, especially for women, because, I always talk about, we talk, 20,000 words a day, and a man talks about 5,000 to 6,000 words a day. So my role is also to be a good listener and to hear his heart, to make sure that he knows that regardless of what's going on in the world, regardless of what he's facing, that together we can get through it. So I think a role of a wife, at least for me, has to be an excellent listener, someone that's in his corner, to have his heart, to have his best interest at heart, and to get with his vision. Where are we going 5 years, 10 years down the road after you raise your family? What now? And to be able to face life together, those unexpected things. So for me, the role of a wife has been to really have my husband's back, regardless of what we had to face together.
We were taking a class in college. We were taking a family, what was it called? Family and some family class. And one of the assignments was to create a budget for your household. So we worked together to create this budget, and we looked at the budget and we said, oh, this might work. And that's how we got
But she asked, did you ask for my hand?
I did not. This is her whole thing.
Not the
Oh,
proposal. My mom.
from your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did ask for your hand in marriage, but
Well,
I
tell 'em
did
about
not.
Tell them about that story.
I'm not telling that story because that don't look good for me.
Y'all want me to?
You'll tell it from the wife, from your perspective, but I know it don't look good for me. So
No, it's not bad.
no, go ahead and tell the story since you really want to tell it.
I'll wait till she.
You can go ahead and talk now.
No, he did ask for my hand in marriage.
I did ask after we did
After
the budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
We went to my mom's in Illinois, and it was
Oh, that was different.
it was Thanksgiving break, right?
Yes.
And he asked for my.
I was nervous.
Yeah, it was one Friday night, and we were sitting at a dining room table, and I kept kicking him, saying, "Ask her, ask her." He was like, I am," and then it just came out in one sentence. And
Her father had passed away.
yeah.
And I always told her if I had to ask her father, we'd probably never be married. But
And why is that? Your nerves?
not only my nerves, I just heard your father was tough. But anyway, anyway, I sat at the table and I'm sitting there, I'm fidgeting. I know I got to ask this question. And I just blurted it out.
In one sentence.
One straight sentence kept going.
Yeah.
And your mom said,
This year?
yeah.
And-
And then she said, is she going to finish her college education? I
Right.
said, definitely we'll finish her college. And she said, well, you have my blessings.
Right. Because we got married in college.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a nervous wreck, though.
He was nervous. Yeah. Well, of course, as we said when we started, we'll be married 37 years in August. And my husband is an IT professional. And I always say that's what he does for a living, but that's not who he is. And when the economic turndown happened from 7 to 2010, and even for him, it started in 2003, he was downsized 3 different times. And 1 year was for 2 years and 3 months. So he was unemployed, not bringing home any income for 2 years and 3 months. That was the longest duration. And over the course of our marriage, it was 3 different times that he was downsized. So we had to use our faith, our friendship, and fun, not to just survive, but thrive that financial lack. And what I can tell you is that we turn to God and we turn to each other. Because a lot of people, when they have finances, is like the number one reason people get divorced. And for my husband and I, we just held on to faith and held on to each other because we knew that this storm in our life was not going to last always. And we always say we equate marriage to the weather forecast. Some days it's going to be sunny and bright and great and going well. Some days are going to be cloudy and, maybe not as good, but a little cloudy and not doing so good. Some days are like a tornado and things might hit. And they hit fast and hard, but you get through it. But that 2 year and 3 month duration, it was like a tsunami. And for us, we're still coming through it, but we're coming out on the other side. And we have stood the test of time. And I think it was one of the most difficult seasons in our life. But we knew that we were chosen so that we could help other couples get through the storm. So from a wife's perspective, my husband inspired me during that time to write a book. And I wrote a book called More Than a Paycheck. And in that book, I share our story. It's a love story, but I share how we use practical things, how to get through that storm in our life.
Right.
Did you want to add something?
Yeah, that was great. You did a great job of telling that story.
Thank you.
But from a male perspective, when you're a good man, you're trying to provide for your family. It can be very difficult when you can't support your family, when you don't have the means to support your family and to be that head of the household. But for us, it was good to know that my wife did not run out. You're not bringing any income in. What good are you to me? But she stayed there. She encouraged me. She prayed for us. She kept us together. And through that, that brought us through to this point where we are now. I mean, we still had our daughter was still at home when that was going on. So we were trying to finance her through college as well. We had pretty much exhausted all resources of income. But yet, through all that, our marriage stayed together. That's because of our three core components: faith, fun, and friendship. And the fact that we love one another, and we had already taken divorce off the table. So regardless of what was going on, we were going to stay together. So we were challenged by all that, and obviously we have survived that.
That's right.
At this point.
That's
so.
Right.
I mean, for other couples out there, even though you may be going through challenging times, it may not be finances or it could be a major injury or illness or whatever. But if you're true to marriage, you really believe in the institution of marriage, and you're willing to invest the work and the time and the resources, you can survive these challenging situations.
That's true. And we both always say you can have heaven on earth if you're willing to make an investment. So many people want a wonderful relationship, but they don't want to make an investment.
Right.
They invest in their careers, they get degrees, they get certifications, they get all that. But when it comes to the marriage or the relationship, that the journey that they're going to live for the rest of their life, no investment.
Right.
So especially to those who are thinking about getting married or single or whatever, really talk about these things. Communicate. I cannot say that more than enough.
Right.
You can get through any storm if you communicate properly. When you first get married, you're young, you're passionate, you think you know what it's all about, but you don't really know how to really please each other, I don't think, until over time. And then when you have children, it's a whole nother dynamic because you're just trying to hit and miss and get through and get the kids bathed and put them to bed and blah, blah.
Right.
But if you hang in there, I'm thinking when you hit your 40s and 50s stride, that's when it's the best ever. I mean, because it's not sex, it's intimacy.
Right.
It's making love to one another in a way that just would blow your mind. That's so wonderful. And you've been through so many storms that this is really true love. So
that's true.
I think it gets better.
Yeah, it definitely gets
better. And
better.
my husband, he is 60, but he's like 20. I would say intimately.
No, it really does. Now that the children are out, you don't have all that other stuff that goes on. You can really enjoy yourself. So
yeah, you got the whole house.
Go back to swinging off the chandeliers we did when we first got married.
Well, we don't want to tell on that, but it's good.
She won me over by feeding me. We were in college, and, when you're in college, you eat just about anything, crackers or whatever, whatever you can find. But we started dating, and she started cooking. I mean, this ain't no, tuna and cracker sandwich. This is pork chops and corn and cabbage. I'm like, what? I can't let this go. I had people in my dorm, they were all jealous and mad and upset. And I'm like, yeah, this is the one. This is the one. So that is a key component as to why I proposed to her. But, over the long run, it was just getting to know her and getting to spend a whole lot of time with her. And she kind of grew on me a little bit. So she's still here with me now. But yeah.
When we were in college, he worked for the school. But what department?
The maintenance department.
Yeah, when we were in college.
While playing baseball.
Yeah, he worked for the maintenance department. So I said, and this is the defining moment of why I said yes.
Oh, the roof.
When I saw him on that roof of that building on the campus doing roofing and doing drywall and all that, I said, he'll do anything to make an honest living. I said, oh, yeah, he's the one. So I just knew that.
See, she admittedly went to the
yeah.
dollars.
No, I knew. This is my question. You already had yours. I knew that he would do anything to make an honest living. And that was important to me, especially given what we have gone through in our marriage. I knew that there would be nothing too low or that he wouldn't do to make sure that we had a place to live and had food on the table, whatever. So that was my defining moment, and that's why I said yes. Plus, I knew he was a nice guy. He was well respected. He was respected. Oh my Lord! He was respected on the campus that we went to. Everybody respected him, both the administrators and the staff and the students. And so he was well thought of, well respected, and he carried himself in such a way that he eluded integrity and character. So between that and being a diligent hard worker,
but it was really the roof experience.
Yes, it was the roof experience. Yes, Reese, it was the roof experience. That's
gotta bring them coins in.
Yes, right. Gotta go to work. That's our running internal joke.
Yeah. For our number one goal was to finish college. Both of us was to finish college. I finished a year before she did, and still start working with the college. Yeah. The other goals were to move back home and then start a family, and be in a good church, and just enjoy the rest of our lives.
And I think our goals have changed over years.
They have changed.
Our goals have changed over the years. I think he's exactly right. That was our onset goals, and then it's like initial goals, interim goals, long-term goals. I think when we went through that financial storm, we were just like, if we could just be afloat, it would be wonderful. We could just hold our heads above water. I think now that we've raised our children and we're empty nesters, we're still coming out of debt and becoming debt-free, and that's our goal. But we would like to travel. We have seen some goals. We document our goals together, and we talk about our goals, what we like to achieve, and we write them down. And we have seen them coming to pass. And
that's the book.
Yes.
That was one of your goals.
Yeah, that was my book, More Than a Paycheck. And he inspired me to complete that goal. That was a huge goal. Yeah. Took me about 4 years, and he helped me to get through that. And I call him my hubbinger. He helps me.
Unpaid hubbinger.
Unpaid hubbinger. He keeps me all organized. So, yeah.
Yeah,
we have always set goals through our marriage, and they've changed over time because our lives have changed. Right. So,
well, I would say for a couple, that's looking to get married, first, find a partner that you have common goals in, and stick to those goals. Don't change what those goals are. You want somebody that can inspire you, that encourage you, that can help you meet your goals, and you as a couple can meet your couple's goals as well. You want to share the same ideas, share the principles, share your thoughts on parenting. You want to share your thoughts on location where you want to live. You want to share your thoughts on, what you want to do with your finances. And one key thing that you don't want to do is let family get involved in your relationship. It's got to be you and your spouse or your potential spouse, and don't let too many other people interfere with it.
And I would totally agree with my husband. And I think for me, if you're looking to get married, I would say before you say I do, a lot of people talk about the event, which is the wedding. Right. And that's just a one-day event. But they don't really talk about the journey called life. And I think couples really need to sit down and look at, just like my husband said, look at your faith. How are you going to raise your children? A lot of people say, well, he's an unbeliever and I'm a believer, or, he's this and I'm that. But when we get married, we'll just decide where the kids are going to go. See, that's an issue in itself, because you need to decide that before you have children. Because when you're in the crust of it and raising them, it's going to be a problem if he don't want them to go to church and you want him to go to church, or he's a non-believer and you are a believer. There's going to be friction, especially if you have a family. So talk about your communication styles. Talk about, like you said, your finances. Talk about everything.
Yeah, who's gonna be
Intimacy.
handling that?
Who's going to be owning that? Who's going to be? Are you going to both work outside the home? Maybe he has traditional, ideas. I don't want you to work after we have children,
Right.
but maybe you want to go back to work. So talk about that. All of those things, so that at least you can go into the marriage with some kind of sense of a standard of how you're going to deal with
Right.
it. Because if you don't, people think things get better when you get married. It just magnifies
Right.
it. You're up close and personal with the situation. When you're single, if you don't agree with who you're dating, you just get in your car and drive and go to your own house.
Right.
But when you get married and you're living with that person, although I guess the new thing is to live with them before you get married. So that's a whole nother can of worms. But anyway, long story short, talk about every area: communications, intimacy, finances, faith. Don't leave anything off the table.
agree.
And so that would be my recommendation.
Right.
Talk about everything so that you don't get in it blindsided. So many people divorce early in a relationship because they haven't had these discussions. Then when they get married, well, I didn't know he felt that way. I didn't know she was like that. I didn't know she was,
That's true. That is true.
I didn't know she wanted to go see her mama every week. I don't,
Well, he want to go see his mama.
his mama every week, or he's comparing me how his mama cook. I don't want to hear about your mama cooking. And so talk about those things. And my husband gave some great advice. Do not let, as close as you might be to your mom, your dad, your
Friends.
siblings, friends, do not let them come between you and your husband. You guys, it's like this. You are a fortress and nobody can get in there. Nobody. Because once you let them in, then you might have an argument or a disagreement with your spouse. You all forgive each other, you going on. But you tell that girlfriend, she'll be, girl, he did. She's going to constantly bring up, remember he did so-and-so. Or she's out telling other people. So now the biggest thing, especially to the women, never betray your husband's heart. Because once you betray a man's heart, you will never have his confidence. Never betray his heart. Because that's the one thing that a husband that really loves his wife gives to you.
Yeah.
Would you say, baby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the most difficult thing for a man to really give is his heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Physical part, they'll give you that all day long, but
But his heart. Which means he tells you things that he wouldn't tell anybody else in the world.
Right.
And you don't go running around telling your girlfriends, your mother, your sibling. Those things you die with.
yeah.
And that would be my recommendation.
The only other thing is if you're going into a relationship where there's a blended family, where there's kids and things like that, you're going to have to discuss on how the discipline is going to be handled. You're going to have to discuss on how the other parents of that child interface with your relationship. So those are some other things you need to consider when you start talking about marriage.
Absolutely.
Well, I know one of my wife's songs.
Your thing sucks. It makes you think of me.
Well, anytime I hear this song, I'm already going to think about you.
Okay.
She loves Barry White. I love you just the way you are.
Oh, yes, I love that song.
So anytime I hear that song, I'm immediately going to think of her. Let's see. The other song probably would be At Last.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And
I love you just the way you are. I think I'm just I love.
yeah, old folk.
Yeah. My favorite genre is probably gospel, but
Right.
between romantic,
I'm thinking in a romantic.
in a romantic way, yeah, I love you just the way you are by Barry White, because it's a sentiment of my heart both ways.
Right, right.
That he doesn't have to change to please me. I love him unconditionally, just like he is. And
The
hopefully
third
he doesn't-
song would probably be anything by CeCe Winans.
yeah,
She loves just about any song by CeCe Winans.
yeah.
So my wife is the type, she'll put a CD in the car and it'll be in there for 6 months on the same CD.
That's true.
I always say, God, you don't know the grooves off that song.
But I love Barry White love songs.
Yeah.
And that one
When we're in an intimate
we're in the
moment,
yeah.
we'll play more romantic
Magic,
songs.
yeah. Because I can't think of three. We only came up with two.
Well, anything with CeCe Winans.
yeah,
is,
yeah.
you know,
Okay, that's our, yeah.
that's yours. I'm old school R&B.
Yeah, he is old school R&B. He likes old school. Anything old school. Yeah.
So I'm so very proud of her.
Can we pause?
What are you laughing about?
I'm pausing because I'm sitting too close. You're making me hot.
See, I tried.
He really is my. You know how two women could be best friends? We became best friends in college. We weren't even dating each other. Remember, we were dating other people, and that's all. We were dating other people, and
Yeah.
I went home one time and realized that I wanted to hear more so from him than my boyfriend. That's when I realized he
Really?
was the one. Yeah.
And what did you say to that boyfriend?
I said I think we need to cut it off.
What was the other thing? Didn't you call him something?
Oh yeah, I went home one break and we went out and I called my boyfriend. I called him Maurice. I always call him Reese. I said I called him Reese. But I had already told him about him. I wasn't trying to hide anything because I said I want to tell you.
He was a friend.
No, I said, I said I want to tell you about a young man from Chicago. You'll hear me talk about him a lot, and his name is Maurice. I said he's my good friend. So he was all right with it. He wasn't jealous or anything because there was nothing going on.
Until.
I do.